Hello and welcome to another Raggy's review. This time a taproom review. Yesterday we went into Exeter and we went over to Hanlons Brewery. We booked a table there. There were 7 of us, and then 2 extra came. Us and the happy drinkers, so me, my wife, Mrs. Raggy, Tracy, Angela, Andy, Alex, Caden and Harry, happy drinkers. And Pepper, of course, the dog. And then Andy's brother and his good lady as well came later on. So you drive in, and we parked on the side because no actual parking. There was no spare places in the car park that we could see. At least there was actually, but we couldn't see them. Pitch black. Yeah, booked a table. What you had there was something really different. You had like six or seven sheds that people were eating in and drinking in. Brilliant, deal. Especially if someone fetches the beer and food for you. Winner, kitchen dinner. You had like a marquee with heated things coming down on you. There was a bar in it. And yeah, there was a bar with spirits and whatnot, heated marquee area, and then you walked inside, there's the toilets, and then you walk up the stairs, there's another eating area, and basically what is their tap room? So you've got like a tap bar, there's beers on the bar, and then the shop area at the back. I was sat next to the wall in the marquee area. It was a trifle chilly, I've got to be honest. It needed more, at the top end, it needed more heaters, just to get those sat on the edge. It was. I was actually sat by the wall, and I was a bit bloody. I was a bit chilly. I didn't know it was outdoor, like an outdoor under a marquee type setting. Otherwise, I'd kept my coat on and my hat. It wasn't freezing, but it's only October. Later on in the year, it's going to get colder and colder and colder. So yeah, something to think about there. On the bar, there were 3 lines of cask on the bar. Cask beers, there was port stout and 2 lighter beers. Yellowhammer was one, and I think Simcoe was the other. 4 lines of keg, 2 ciders, 2 lagers, and spirits as well. So a good range of stuff. The food offering was, there was burgers, there was ribs, a choice of chicken and beef burgers, chips as sides, multiple different sides going off. There were specials. I had the beast, so I had like a chicken and a burger in a big burger. A bloody burger was massive. The only thing I would have said is, you could do with some wipes, because as the juices, if you've got a dry burger, you're laughing, but on that burger, then the juices were dripping down. I'm like holding it, and I'm going around the other side, and by the end, I'm covered in juice, and it's sticky as hell. Fantastic flavour, all day long, cooked to perfection. Staff were excellent, all day long. You just could have done with some of them little wet wipes that you get, lemony wipes. My son actually had a glass of cola, so I squirted his lemon onto my hands, used the cloths and did that. Again, could have done with a few more cloths. Just little, nothing serious, but just little niggly things, that's all. They had Marmite skin on fries. Bloody hell. I was going to have them, but I went for the big burger, and then I decided not to go for the fries. So yeah, it is what it is. Beer was tasting great. Like I say, they had pulled pork as well there. So whether the pulled pork was on that night, they had something called Peggy Sue, like a big bloody roasting thing. Whether that's just for decorative nature and they just cook upstairs, I don't know. I don't know that side of things. Obviously, I don't work there. Food was great, good service. find it difficult to listen to the conversation the other side of the table, but that's because there was like 11 of us, you know. It wasn't easy to listen. And but then again, sometimes I'm good for being at the quiet end. I was looking after the dog anyway, so yeah. We had a table next to us, and they were quiet. They was loud enough, and but it is what it is. You're in a pub, so you know you can't fault the loudness. Yeah, food was great, beer was great. I went up, bought 6 bottles. They're behind me on the beer wall, ready for review at some stage in the future. Yeah, Prescott beer and obviously Hanlons. I wish Hanlons had more of a range. I'd have bought more. I don't want to re-review. The only one I bought that I've not reviewed before, that I know of, I remember anyway, was the Port Stout. Can't remember if I reviewed the Simcoe or not, so it is what it is there. But I did get the 3 Prescott beers as well. Yeah, we had a good time in there. We thoroughly enjoyed the place. Prices were pretty decent, you know, to be fair. And the food was nice and hot. You can't fault it. Come and ask you. They were quite attentive to ask you if you needed any bits and bobs. We didn't ask about bloody, or someone on the table didn't ask about getting more cloths. To be fair, but you know, it's just a little thing. But yeah, well worth visiting. And that's my little review from Hanlons Brewery. Thank you for watching. See you soon.